Good morning, everybody. Patrick, right on. I'm glad you made it, man. Good morning, Jerome. What's up, buddy? Miss you, man. Good people, good people. What's up? What shirt do you have on now? You know what? Hey, I want to wear my new fancy shirts, and somebody asked me what's on my shirt. But what's on your shirt?
Well, it's an Alfa Romeo. Now I can't remember which model. But anyway, it's a cool shirt. It's a blip shift shirt.
Jeez almighty. Don't even remember. All right, man. So
what's on your shirt?
Oh, nothing. Nothing's on my shirt. My shirt, there's nothing on it. I have a plain shirt on today.
Yeah.
What's up with that, right?
I know you're celebrating some birthdays this week. You want to shout out to anybody?
Today I want to wish my lovely wife Diana happy birthday. So if you guys are friends with her on social media, reach out, wish her a happy birthday. And then yesterday was our daughter Darren's 17th birthday, and it was really cool. We got to take her out. Last year's 16th birthday, complete shutdown, nowhere to go, nothing to do, right? Don't worry about it, baby. Only a couple weeks long, maybe a month. We all know how that went. So we went out last night. We wanted to go to the mall and go shopping, which is like my least favorite thing in the entire world to do. But I love doing it with her. And we went out. We had a great kind of late lunch. And we ended up going to Chick-fil-A and having a little Chick-fil-A so it was and then she got to go. She's really into Asian culture and Asian cooking. And she went to an Asian grocery store and got all kinds of goodies. And so it was pretty awesome. So, Paul, what's up, man? Christopher, good morning. We got all kinds of cool. Chris, what's up, man? All right, man. Are we still putting it on Spotify? Are we guys still putting it? Is ours going up on Spotify?
It sure should be, but I haven't double checked in a while.
We better check that because it should be on there. So so let's get rolling in. First off, we want to thank P&S Detail Products. The Phillips company, the Phillips family has owned P&S for 60 years. Can you believe that? 60 years this year, and we want to thank them for doing all they do. They make it possible to do this podcast and bring some info out to you all. So, hey, if you're not familiar with them, look them up, P&S Detail Products. You can find them all over the internet, definitely on social media. And Bob and Dave, thank you so much for your years of commitment. And again, congratulations on 60 years in business. So, Jason, what's up, man? How you doing?
How's that shop looking? Is it recovered from the weekend yet?
It's recovering. Diane came out and did a little bit. I come out and did a little bit. We had a 5-day extreme, hardcore, what is that? Probably 65 hours, somewhere right in there.
Somewhere.
And then we had an extreme 1 day following it. The very next day on Saturday, we had 14 professionals here and 4 coaches, and we had a blast. But the shop was destroyed, which it should be. So, yeah, good news is the shop's coming back together slowly. As you can see, I still get to do the floors, which is always fun. But I get to take the STI down today and have the PDR guy work on that, get that dent out because it's driving me nuts. Cool. Yeah. Still have no idea. So, hey, let's talk about a couple things. Let's talk about your ego. Let's talk about how ego, especially for some reason in detailing, is just it's ingrained into our industry for some reason. So I want to talk about ego versus confidence. So ego, the definition of ego, as Webster see it, is I or self, or any person. A person is thinking, feeling, and willing, and distinguishing itself, himself, herself from the selves of others, from objects of its thought.
That takes a lot of thinking to get wrapped around that one.
And here's it. An ego is very complicated. Where confidence, the state of feeling certain about the truth of something. So right off the bat, even Webster's is like, shit. How do we? I think they just put ego up and they put asshole, behind it, in a lot of situations. But here's the deal. I'm going to get into this. At the bottom of this is you need a little bit of a both, believe it or not. You've got to have some ego in there, but a lot of confidence. So let's talk about, self-assurance. I really think that's really where we need to be instead of all this ego, peacocking. And there's a lot of male testosterone going around now in the industry. The ladies coming in, they've got that mellowed out, but they've brought some TNA into it. That's their own form of ego. Some of them. But, there's a lot of people doing it right, and there's a lot of people just putting their nose down and going in and doing hard work. So let's talk about that. So many times when people witness but don't know others, is they'll witness somebody and say, man, that dude is that chick is super cocky. Man, what a huge ego. And they don't even know them. But what they could be picking up on is just the immense amount of self-reliance, of confidence that he or she may have. And a lot of times when you get to know that person, is the ego really isn't the problem at all. It's more so that the illusion of self-confidence and so much self-confidence is coming out in the fact that it seems like ego or cockiness. Now, you can usually tell the difference in a couple different ways. We'll get into that in a second. But I want to caution you is that I'll give you a good example. Mr. Huge in the industry. There's a gentleman. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's massive. Probably a millionaire several times over. And we got somebody in both of our ears over the years. This guy, man, he does this, and this, and he doesn't like you. And then on the other side, that same person was saying, that guy, man, God, what an ego, what an asshole, and he doesn't like you. So we finally, after years and years, and we never hated on each other. We just never had a lot to do with each other. But we've both been fed some bad information, bad intel on one another through one person. So we end up sit down one day, and we have this long discussion completely by accident. Just completely by accident. And guess what? Man, that dude didn't have an ego. Well, he does. He's very self-confident in himself. But dude, I love the dude. We've become really good friends in the industry, and the information that was fed was from jealousy, because I don't think the person that was telling us that had very much confidence in themselves. And here you are dealing with two people that are very confident in their abilities and pretty happy and stable where they're at in life. And, when people that aren't happy and stable in life, they see people that are, sometimes they're going to start saying and doing things that just not facts. They're going to want to bring you down because they're, misery likes company, right? So it's funny that this individual, and again, runs one of the biggest companies in the detailing auto care industry, but yet it's amazing that here we really enjoyed each other's companies, and we still do to this day. We have found out that a lot of what we preach in business is very much alike. Yet this other person they've got quite the ego about themselves, and they're not very happy. That's a great example, a living example of realizing and seeing ego versus self-confidence in our marketplace. Now, control of each. Got to switch this over real quick. It's really very, very important that you keep control of your ego. Okay, and I'm not going to say it's just young people, and I'm not going to say it's just males, because it's not. But it tends to be younger people, and it tends to be younger males, that their ego just runs out of control. I remember being in my teens and 20s, and the way I grew up, I was probably the last person to have a big ego just because of what I experienced, but I was definitely cocky. I remember selling my very, very first detailing shop, and having some coinage in my back pocket and thinking, man, I am it. I am the greatest thing since butter on bread, right? And I remember thinking, I'm getting out of this detail thing. I'm going to go on. I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 25. Goodbye, adios, detailing. I'm just going to detail my own cars and have fun, because I'm going to have Porsches and Ferraris and Lambos lined up at my mansion, in Big Bear Lake, and my other mansion down at Newport Beach, so don't need this. Well, then reality struck, and it's not so easy to become a millionaire overnight, especially when you're 20-something, and especially when you come out of a situation where you don't have that kind of thinking in your life, where you were raised with a real positive attitude about yourself and your surroundings. Now, my cockiness said, my ignorance on fire said I was going to go make it happen. But the world had some adjusting for me. Yeah, I was successful. I sold my first company, but it was a far cry, and it was a lot of money back then. It was a lot of money back then. But it was a far cry from being a lot of money for people that actually have money. Matter of fact, for people that have money, it was chump change. It wasn't very much. It got me into a good spot, and it set me up for some future business dealings, and it set my mind in a new direction because of a couple things. But it really didn't set me up financially, and I struggled. So, you've got to take and control that ego and make sure that it doesn't get out of control. Because let me tell you, too much ego, too much self-confidence is just ignorance, especially when your knowledge base is lower. I'm not even going to put it on an age, because we've got a lot of people that are older that just don't have a solid knowledge base, and they're doing things off of emotions. And, business is a tough place to bring in emotion, especially when you're starting up. So let's talk about when ego goes good. And, I'll tell you, if you don't have self-confidence, if you don't take and believe in yourself and what you're doing, it is going to be really, really tough to take and make it, because people, they take and feed on that. And believe it or not, is that you're going to attract people by having the right attitude and outlook. And so if you've got a nice, healthy, and healthy is the key word, ego and self-confidence, you're going to be okay. Things are going to go okay, but you got to keep that in check. You can't let it out of control. Now, when ego goes bad, is we see it all the time. And there's two different ways I view ego and self-confidence. Usually a person with an out of control ego is going to hurt others. They're going to strip down others for their own good. You can see them on the forums all the time. See these people putting new people down for asking stupid questions. You can see them building themselves up and telling everybody how great they are and how much other people, literally telling people that they stink. And that's usually an ego. Self-confidence is going to lend out a quieter helping hand. And they're also going to take and build people up, and they're going to have empathy. And I think that's a huge one, is to have empathy. All of us, I don't care how brilliant you think you are, we're brand new at one time. And my Italian grandma used to tell me this, is when she saw me getting a little cocky, you know what she'd tell me, Chris? I used to have to take the shit out of your diapers. Don't even go there with me, because you used to shit your pants. And I remember those days, and so, it was her way of saying, listen, Mr. Big Shot, you're not that big of a big shot, because in my world, not that many years ago, you were crapping your pants still. And so, there's always somebody bigger, badder, tougher, richer, more money, more handsome, all those different things. But you can take, and when ego goes out of control, is that it's going to shorten your success. Is that, we always see it in the fact of a person with a big ego. They're really super, 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 they're super cocky. They're super successful. They're super aggressive. They're super this. But guess what? Are they really? Or is it just an illusion that they really got all that together? And the answer is, yeah, it's probably just an illusion. So now, intelligent confidence. This is where you're going to start getting smart, is intelligent confidence. Is that when you have intelligent confidence, meaning that you're backing it up, maybe not even with your own knowledge, maybe not even your own experiences, but you surround yourself with a tribe that has got solid tribal knowledge, meaning that there's very little, if any, theory that group is sharing with you. What I mean by that is it's about who you surround yourself with. It's really easy to take and surround yourself with yes people and that tell you you're so great. But you want to surround yourself. I knew I had the right people around me. We had a guest on last week, and unfortunately our internet was all goofed up, Jim Gogan. Jim Gogan's called me on the carpet a few times. One time really hard. Matter of fact, he opened up last week and thought that when he let loose on me, that it was going to probably cost us our friendship. And it just did the opposite. is because I knew that Jim wasn't going to take bullshit from me. And there's not too many times that he's seen it. But in that case, I offered up some serious BS. And it wasn't bullshit in the fact. It was just he saw something he didn't like, and he corrected me on it, something very personal. And you know what? I love Jim even more for doing that. I was ashamed of myself that I had to have a friend correct me. But how lucky am I that I had somebody that in my life that thinks enough about me that will stand up and correct me. It was pretty amazing. And so here's the deal. When you have good, solid tribal knowledge, when you've done a lot of research, when you've got mentors that have been there, done that, you're bouncing your ideas off of them, and they're giving you a green light or maybe even an amber light. What's that mean? GAR. We've talked about it. Search and rescue, we use it, and it's pretty simple. The Coast Guard, really, it's a big thing, is green, amber, and then red. So greens go, right? Everybody's a go on the team. We're going to go. Ambers, there's some caution. Red's like, this shit's freaking me out. There's some scary stuff. Somebody could get really killed, hurt, something like that in the situation. So if you've got mentors and they're saying, this is kind of dangerous water, you better go amber. But listen, people around you that are in the know with low theories, with high amount of, everything they say is there's not much theory in it, is if they're giving you a red and you go, boy, I'll tell you, that's ignorance on fire right there. If they're giving you an amber and telling you, hey, you know what, take it slow. This is what I do. I check the waters. And then once you get to, this spot, I go hard. That's good intel, man. That's really good intel, but you could get hurt because you might not have the knowledge quite yet. You might not have the financial backing. You might not have the mentality yet to take that on, but you got to go out and make those mistakes to gain those things right there. Is for every success I've got, I probably have 10 failures, and not in business necessarily, but on attempts, on different things that we do. Chris and I, when we get into, we'll do marketing, we'll do this and that. We've got a business idea, and there's a lot of things that we take and we jump into, and it doesn't work out quite as we plan, and so we plan B it, or we A/B test it. Because there's plenty of things that we get into. I had a discussion this morning with Bob Phillips on something that we're working on, something really important to our brand, but it's got some hiccups right now, and it's a great part of our business, but it needs to be tweaked a little bit. How cool is that? That we look at the hard numbers and come up with a plan based on those facts. Now, building up others, that's confidence. Again, I mentioned it. I'm gonna take and be a positive person and say we're seeing a lot more of it in the industry because we are. Now, a lot of times the idiots, the a-holes out in the industry, they kind of shadow the good things that are going on. But if you look at the amount of information that people are sharing today, they're sharing it at levels that we never shared before. Some of it's really solid information. Alex brought me onto his podcast. I did an interview 2 days ago. And God, man, it was with Dan with the Owner's Pride. What a great opportunity for Dan and I, two guys that have been around the industry for a long time. Alex, somebody that's younger, to ask him some questions, but to share his opinion because, he's newer in the industry, he's younger, in age, and to share his outlooks. Excuse me. It was pretty magical. That wasn't happening 10 years ago, 5 years ago. But now we've got a whole bunch of that.
You just made me think of something. There's been a number of conversations lately on social media about the IDA and whether or not it's helpful or not, and that kind of stuff, which I totally believe that it is. But you do see the ego and the confidence thing in those discussions. You see the confidence in the people that believe in it and kind of defend it and put it to work for their businesses and help themselves succeed with it. And then you see the ego on the other side with the guys that kind of attack it, and they feel like, well, I'm better than this organization and I don't need it, kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Right. You see that, you hear that all the time. The guys that usually say, well, what can it do for me? First off, a lot of discussions, COVID kicked the crap out of a lot of organizations. And, some of these guys that are talking, I saw one of them that was in that discussion, and it cracked me up because he's sitting there bitching, but he's one of the same ones that 2 weeks in was going to say that he was out of business if things didn't change. Dude had zero common sense to put money away when he was doing so well And here he is making all this money, but 2 weeks in, he's going to go out of business. And so again, that kind of tells you where his ego, and I think that's a great point, Chris, is that you can, I've kind of checked out of those discussions because I think the IDA is a great thing. And, we've backed it for a long time. I won't say we were on the first because we weren't. We sat on the sidelines and watched as some great people built it up. But I've got 150% confidence in the organization. But it's just got to get through this, and people are striking out. Their own failures are coming into play. A lot of these, the biggest mouths in the industry right now against it, are just struggling because of their own failures. Is they're not hitting where they want to be. So they're going to go after, instead of concentrating on their own business and making their own business great, they're going to go out and try to hurt things. And again, I hate to say it, but reality's reality. And you can call for whatever I'm sure I'm going to get hate on this, right? You can call for whatever you want. Sorry, it is what it is, man. And you can go out and do it. It's probably been one of the most disgusting conversations I've seen in a long time, because some people say it's constructive. I think it's destructive. It's okay to be critical and bring things up, but my point is, what are you doing to dive in there and help?
Yeah.
If you're so successful, why don't you start writing some checks and get some of this stuff done that you're talking about instead of blabbing your mouth? Is that it's straight as that. So here's the other thing is, ego is very short-sighted. Ego, you're going to see the people with ego win some battles. At best, that's it. It's short-sighted. Confidence sees a long-term future and wins the wars. Simple as that. I want to repeat that. Is that ego is going to win some battles, some. And unfortunately, we see the blabbermouths out there in the industry, is that we see that more than we see the confidence or the empathy, because unfortunately, right now, there's a lot more of that in the industry. So ego is repulsive. Ego is only going to last so long. You're only going to take and survive so long off of your massive ego. Whereas, I want you to listen to this, is that self-confidence, when used correctly, is a magnet. When people see that you're confident in yourself, that you're confident in your company, that you're confident in your industry, when you're confident in who you are, what you look like, there's an attraction to that. And test this with yourself. Look at some of the people that you admire most. I've always had a tendency in my life of always admiring older people. And when I was a kid, it was the World War II guys, the Vietnam era guys, just to hear their stories and what they made it through. Now I'm trying to look back and concentrate on this generation, that's a generation 2 or 3 or 4 even behind me, and see the great things they're doing. And there's so many great young people that are thinking so much wiser than my generation did. And I love seeing that. And so learning to use your confidence and to use your ego in the correct ways is a serious skill. It's again, a lot of people, I don't know too many people, I've met those, we all have, that are just straight ego based, and they've done it their whole lives. But you know what you'll find? Most people will mellow. They're going to mellow out as they age, and as reality and the world hit them in the face with some hard things that are going to come upon them. Now, real quickly, I want to take in midway shift, I want to thank Road FS. Listen, if you guys aren't using software in a detailing company, I've got a couple great points after this. If you guys are not using software in a detailing company, you need to rethink things, man. It's like having a personal assistant in your pocket for $100 a month. That's going to absolutely change your business. Also, your business brings greater value when you're using software. So I want to thank Road FS for coming in, making this happen along with PNS Products. So now I want to share this, is that within your confidence is I want you to learn to be agile. Be adjustable, be able to take and flip. Here's why. When you're able to move freely in different situations, you might have a family that comes to you for services versus somebody that's got a lot of money with a collection. Is sometimes just doing the right thing and the nice thing is going to pay off. And so learning to be agile and move and not always be Don't always sell. Sometimes it's just nice to do something from the heart. Lead. What do I mean by that? Is you might take and only be a one-man shop, but what you need to do is set your examples so that when you hire your first person, is that you've really got good habits built up, and that person that you hire is going to see those things immediately. The other thing is treat your company like you already have staff. Is set up the proper systems and processes that allow for them to operate in confidence also. Is that, and don't be too afraid or don't object too hard if people that you hire, as they start to get proficient at their skill sets, change your systems and processes up just a tad to meet what makes sense to them. And so that's really important. Be really comfortable in the trenches. What I mean by this is that you need to be comfortable getting dirty, and you need to show empathy to the people you work with, that you don't mind getting down and doing what they're doing. And it's not always, so many people I think love to play business, and once they hire somebody, is they think that their only role is, to be Caesar, and wave to the crowd, and live or die, and take and rule from that throne. And that's just not the case. Matter of fact, I stayed in the trenches for many, many years, and side by side with my staff, and it really paid out. The other thing is, make sure that you're taking it again. Is your leadership from confidence? Are you leading with empathy? Or are you just going off of ego and mistreating people? Be decisive. That's one of the biggest things is, again, do you want to be a magnet, or do you want to be the opposite and push people away? Be decisive on who you are and what you are, what your pricing means. Does your pricing match your services? Does your pricing and menus, things like that, what's this got to do with confidence or ego? Well, you got to believe in what you're selling. And if you don't, it's just not going to work. And then communicate. This is one of the most important things. Communicate with others with confidence, not ego. Again, remember, ego is going to be short term. Confidence is going to win wars. And so be very confident in your communications with others. The way that you word things, the way that you say things, the way that you give prices. If you're subtle, if you cave in all of a sudden to somebody pushing you on price, that's probably not a good indication. It's going to happen again and again, and they're going to spread that news that that company can be worked over. They're asking $600, but you can really get it for $400. That kind of thing that can really hurt you, believe it or not. Know when to be explosive, and then know when to rest. That's really important. Is that, for instance, last week we had an explosive week leading up to the week, even getting the shop ready, having Jim Gogan come into town, working really hard during the entire week, working really hard on Saturday, in the group training. And then by Sunday, man, I'm worn out. I'm just completely done. I had to realize then I had to get some rest, man. I had to let my body and my mind kind of settle in a little bit. And it wasn't until yesterday that I realized, like, whoa, okay, I feel good, back at it. And then lastly is that within your attitude is always show empathy. Again, I'm gonna lay this out for those that are involved in forums, is that when you see somebody new coming in, everybody's been new. Be nice. If you see people that are being rude, don't start a battle with them. Lead by example. Go in and say nice things. Support that person. Simple as that. When people call you and they've got a problem with their car, maybe it's something that you don't ever want to mess with or deal with. Don't poke fun at it. Don't belittle it because they've got that problem. Is that if you can't do it, you should have a source in your market that can. Send it to them. Is that you've got to have empathy, and you've got to take and be a nice person. So, hey, Chris, that was it. We got a couple of great inputs.
I like to think I'm pretty good at the empathy thing, but it's that's a big challenge. I mean, it's hard to do that sometimes.
It really is. And I'll tell you what, though, is that it's the key, especially in this industry. If we all want to make this industry a lot better, it's going to happen with empathy. Is that we got to stop this nonsense that's going on. It goes in circles. We we saw the Raptors come out and attack each other a year ago. A year ago right now, it was such an ugly time in our industry. Everybody, you know, it was an ugly time because of COVID shutdowns, but you know, I monitor a couple of other industries and they just didn't have the problems that we had. And it shows that, you know, we're having a lot of growing pains still. And so one of the things that's united us the most, you know, the IDA goes under attack. And it just, again, I think that maybe a lot of those doing the attacking, I don't know, maybe they're just struggling. Maybe I need to have more empathy for them. Hey, you know what? Here's the deal. If you're attacking, I'm going to put it out there. If you're having a tough time and you're attacking the IDA, come on out. I'll give you some therapy. You know, you can put your head on my shoulder and cry a little bit. You know, I know things are bad. Just stop attacking shit that's important to our industry. You know, go out and fix your business, fix your life. Stop making other people miserable because of your shortcomings. That wasn't really good empathy, was it? That was kind of scolding.
Well, you know, sometimes tough love is needed too.
Cool. Well, hey, I try to keep this at 30 to 45 minutes. I wanted to really have and talk about that. It's been on my mind for a while. Chris and I were looking over discussions. And so we want to thank, again, P&S. They just dropped Legend, their new coating, this last week, and Road FS for sponsoring today's event. And you guys go check them out online. And, again, do us a favor. If you're enjoying this, and a lot of great thank yous, certainly we're awfully glad that we can take and offer this. And so, hey, guys, guess what? Another week, make sure to take and share this podcast wherever you're at. If you're watching this on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to us. Hit that little bell so you get notices when we have new things. We will check into if we're still going on Spotify and the other networks and make sure that's fixed if there is a problem. So thanks for reaching out all. Take care. Have a blessed day. And again, go out with confidence. Lose the ego. Be kind to one another. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.